Are you tired of open world survival games feeling the same? I'm talking about those repetitive grind loops, the endless crafting, and maps that are huge but feel empty. Stick around because I'm diving deep into why these games keep missing the mark, and more importantly, how developers can actually make them better in 2025 and beyond. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You boot up a massive open world game. The map is huge, the possibilities endless. 10 hours later, you realize you've spent most of that time picking flowers, climbing towers, chasing icons. You're free, but it doesn't feel like freedom. Open worlds love to drown you in crafting materials and side quests. Go pick 10 berries, hunt 5 wolves, bring me this, deliver that. But the thing is, why? If it's not tied to the story, if it doesn't unlock something unique, it's just filler. Then it's not an adventure, it's an unpaid internship to virtual busy work. On paper, this sounds like a playground of endless possibilities. In practice, it often becomes a grocery list. If these tasks aren't tied to meaningful character growth, story progression, or actual gameplay variety, they become hollow. It's freedom in name only. You're just doing chores in a bigger backyard. Speaking of the backyard, open your map. It's a galaxy of icons. Treasure chests, enemy camps, random question marks. The problem? Most of them are exactly the same. Whether you clear a camp to the north or one to the south, it's the same enemies, the same loot, the same animation when the flag goes up. Instead of feeling like a living world, the map becomes a giant to-do list with really pretty scenery. Without distinct landmarks, handcrafted encounters, or memorable narrative hooks, the map starts to feel less like an invitation to explore and more like a to-do list pinned to your minimap. Speaking of to-do lists, survival mechanics aren't flawless either. Hunger, thirst, temperature, fatigue. These can add tension, but in most games, they just add interruptions. You're in the middle of a tense moment and suddenly your character is cold. Great. Time to open the menu, eat some stew, and change into your winter coat. It's not survival, it's babysitting. Survival mechanics can add urgency and atmosphere, if done well. Too often, though, they're little more than timers, telling you to pause your adventure for snack breaks. If managing these needs doesn't feed into the deeper tension, decision-making, or story relevance, it's not survival, it's babysitting your character's stomach. And yet, there's a reason we keep coming back to survival and open world games. Because when they do work, they hook us fast. Survival games have this weird magic. You spawn in with nothing, maybe a rock, maybe a stick, and within minutes, you're grinding away for resources like your life depends on it. And somehow, it's fun, at least at first. That first time you craft a better tool, oh, what a rush. You feel like you've earned it. You remember when you were struggling to punch trees for wood, and now you've got an axe that slices through them like butter. Every small upgrade feels like a giant leap forward, and your brain just eats it up. Exploring in a survival game is like being an astronaut on a new planet. You have no idea what's over the next hill, a lush biome full of rare resources, or a monster that's about to ruin your whole day. That constant what's out there feeling keeps you moving, even when you should probably be building a safer base. And what ties the experience all together? Community. Surviving with friends is a whole different game. You're sharing resources, telling stories around the campfire, and yelling help when a bear chases you into the woods. Those shared moments, the close calls, the big victories, they turn into the kind of gaming memories you never forget. That's the hook. That's what gets us addicted early on. But the real challenge for survival games? Keeping the magic alive once the novelty wears off. As good as the early loop is, something happens and the magic fades. The early hours? Addicting. You're progressing, exploring, surviving, but then the excitement fades and the grind sets in. Welcome to the mid-game slump. You've built the ultimate base, you got walls, farms, storage, maybe even a moat. And now, what's left? Without a bigger goal, an endgame challenge, a story climax, or a world-altering event, you end up just existing in your perfectly safe little fortress. Which is great, until you realize safe is just another word for bored. Remember that first time you saw a terrifying new enemy? Now you've fought it 50 times. It's the same pattern, the same drops, the same dance. When danger becomes predictable, it stops feeling like danger and turns into background noise. A sandbox open world exploration game is fun, but without a sense of direction, it can start feeling empty. The best survival games either give you a gripping story or let your actions create one. Rival factions, environmental changes, unexpected disasters. Without that, you're just there, waiting for something interesting to happen. That's the real trap. The survival games hook us fast, but if they can't evolve past the early loop, the world starts to feel less like an adventure and more like an empty stage after the show's over. Alright. We've roasted survival games pretty hard, but here's the thing. When they work, they're some of the most unforgettable gaming experiences you can have. So how do you make survival games truly survive the test of time? The best survival mechanics don't just hand you a checklist, they hand you a sandbox full of possibilities. Chop down a tree, dam a river, flood an enemy camp, use weather, wildlife, and terrain to your advantage. Systems should reward clever thinking and creative problem solving, not just hours of grinding for materials. Random is easy, organic is hard. Great survival worlds don't just shuffle terrain like a deck of cards. They build believable ecosystems. A forest that burns down should regrow differently. Animals should migrate. Seasons should change. How you have to survive. Every time you log in, the world should feel different, not just rearranged. The most memorable survival stories? They're not scripted cutscenes. They're the things that you and your friends cause. Rival clans, sudden storms, NPCs that remember your choices, world events that force you to adapt. Give players the tools and the chaos, and they'll write the best stories themselves. Survival games shouldn't just be about lasting in the world. They should be about living in one. When every choice matters, when the world feels alive, and when the story is yours, that's when the survival loop never gets old. If survival games want to thrive in the next decade, they can't just make bigger maps and prettier graphics. They need worlds that feel alive, worlds that notice you, change because of you, and remember what you've done. Here's where I think we should be heading. Imagine NPC companions who aren't just quest givers, but actual personalities. They remember your choices, develop friendships, or grudges, and even change their goals over time. Factions should splinter, merge, or collapse entirely depending on your actions. Every playthrough should feel like a fresh political drama you're right in the middle of. Forget the giant go here markers. The future is subtle clues in the world itself. A burned out camp hinting at danger, strange animal tracks leading somewhere mysterious, or a toppled over statue marking an old battle. Exploration should be guided by curiosity, not a glowing GPS arrow. In most games, you can burn a village and come back later like nothing happened. But imagine a world that remembers. Towns rebuild differently depending on how you helped or harmed them. Entire regions could flourish or decay because of your decisions. The stakes wouldn't just be survival, they would be the shape of the world itself. The future of open world survival isn't about giving us more to do. It's about making every choice, every interaction, and every discovery matter. When the world feels as alive as the player, that's when survival becomes unforgettable. So maybe freedom in open worlds is a bit of an illusion. Not because there's nothing to do, but because most of it doesn't matter. The best survival games aren't just about keeping your hunger bar full. They're about keeping your curiosity alive. If a game can feed that, you'll never notice the grind. And if it can't, well, your epic adventure ends up as just another story about a guy who chopped trees for 40 hours straight. Now, go touch some grass. Preferably in a world that actually reacts when you do. Thanks for dropping by the den for another video, everyone. I think this video is one of my deeper dives into a topic, and I feel pretty happy with how it turned out in the end. Of course, I'd love to hear what you all have to say about the open world experience. Do you agree with my analysis? Could I have said more? Maybe you think open world survival is great as it is. Let me know in the comments below. I really do enjoy hearing from you all. This video was a bit longer than the other videos I've put out this year, but I hope I was able to keep your attention until the end. As always, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time.